I'm Jacob Elordi.
I'm Cailee Spaeny.
And I'm Sofia Coppola, and we're breaking down a scene from our film Priscilla.
Memphis, we're back, baby. It's good to be home. Where's Marcella?
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Dodgy, you wait up for me too. Bless your little heart.
In this scene, it shows Elvis has been away on with the Memphis Mafia on tour or shooting a movie. They're off doing their thing, and Priscilla's been alone at home, going to high school, and having this life of a student. And then there's a big shift when Elvis comes home, and trying to show that shift in energy when Elvis comes. There's a lot of excitement. There's always music playing. He always had the TV on. He always had people around, all the guys around, and kidding and laughing. And so just to have a real shift in the energy of that scene, and just to go from her being alone to when Elvis is there. And kind of, I think in any relationship, when you reconnect with someone, there's a kind of a moment of awkwardness where you're trying to find your footing, and we wanted to convey that.
I think this scene is interesting because there's a lot of thought put behind how she was going to present herself when he comes home, and so you could sort of imagine the time she took to do her hair and to, what color would look best on her, and sort of what she could do to sort of catch his attention.
Stacy, costume designer, did a great job of assigning certain looks to certain moments, and we'd spoken about, Sofia was talking on the day about the energy when the train of us just kind of burst through that door. It was Elvis at his prime. He was absolutely killing it. He's back from Germany. He has the girl that he wants at home. The world still loves him, and he's on fire. So you kind of came in like this great white, the white jacket is this like godly thing up to his collar, and he was just completely in his element.
Welcome home, baby. Good to see you, baby. Oh, Fi, what's for dinner? So come here. How's school?
Oh, it's okay. I don't really talk to anybody there. Grandma and Patsy have been nice. I missed you. Been trying to find things to do with my...
Yeah, you gotta keep up with your schoolwork, otherwise your father won't let you stay.
I know, but...
You sure do look pretty. Come on, let's have something to eat.
There was, in the book, she talks about that moment where she'd been at home and she couldn't connect with the other kids at school, and she wanted to tell him about that, but then she didn't want to be a drag and burden him as he's just coming home, so she's trying to put on a happy face. So that was what was behind the scene.
Yeah, just finding that balance of this sort of heartbreaking moment of being so excited that Elvis is finally coming home and trying to get that one-on-one time with him, and then him being sort of shuffled into this whirlwind, and them never having a private moment together, and her always sort of longing for that.
And the guys are always around.
Right.
The mafia is always around.
The house is so full, but everyone has learned how to effortlessly not take his space. Kind of what he is doing is what is the sole focus. So everyone kind of passes and doesn't really stop him, and it's just a kiss and a peck so he can get to his sort of throne. Whereas in that beat there, he had chosen to give Priscilla that time, but she kind of wasn't at the stage yet of learning that you kind of have to be like water around him, you have to be able to just get out of the way when yeah. And I don't know.
Yeah, just that juxtaposition of those silent moments when we're focusing on Priscilla's point of view, contrasted by this sort of chaos and storm and energy that Elvis and his entourage sort of provide. And I just thought the boys were so great and coming up with banter the whole time. And
Yeah.
it was really, it made such a difference in terms of me reacting off of this world and how disrupted this quiet space that she was in, and trying to fit into these moments.
Yeah, and I felt like they have these private jokes, and the actors that play the Memphis Mafia were so great at coming up with stories, and she's trying to fit in, but obviously she wasn't a part of what they were all a part of.
Yeah.
So having that contrast.
Oh, I sure did miss you, baby.
baby. Let me see it. Let me play this. I feel like I ate my whole life.
I'll tell you, that Ursula, she was always around.
Oh, goddamn, man. She was a big woman. She was.
Was she pretty?
God, she had a body like a man. No hips, shoulders broader than mine. And goddamn, I was scared to take my shirt off next to her.
The Memphis Mafia was a big part of Elvis's life. They were the guys that were always around, and some of them lived with them. And so Priscilla was always trying to find moments to be alone with Elvis when she wasn't there with all the guys. And that was always an element in her story. And I think this scene just shows that Elvis is with all the guys and they're all telling jokes and having fun, and she's trying to feel a part of it, but they're talking about a time where she wasn't there, but she isn't really a part of it, so that contrast. And luckily we have these great actors who are all improv comedy guys who could come up with great lines, and it's a kind of corny guy humor that I don't really know how to write. But I felt like they really embodied how I imagined that they were, and they were a lot of fun. In the book, Priscilla talked about him just working with Ursula Andrews and how he was always working with these starlets, and you know how that made her feel, and trying to be cool with it but still insecure.
One of the things that was really important to her was the love between them two, and us trying to focus on the highs and lows, and we wanted it to feel really human, and like you were saying, didn't want it to feel one note. It wanted it to feel like a roller coaster, like a lot of relationships can be, especially first loves.
Yeah, and how she described it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, she's trying to sort of play it cool and not, you know, obviously she has so much fear and has so many questions about what goes on when she's not around, but also was trying to toe a line and sort of be sensitive in the moment and not be too much, but also what was she like? Was she pretty? You know, what was going on? And to try to sort of pick things up, all the little details, and take in the cues. And also when we settle in on her and her just trying to take in the surrounding conversations and her feeling like I'm not exactly sure what my place is in this moment, and her just trying to navigate that.
He's from the South from a time period that's completely different to how it is now, and he's sort of was brought up on like traditional gender roles, and it's pretty consistent throughout his career and interviews and in writing that he liked, his mom was a stay-at-home mom, and like, you know, the woman playing the role of the woman. Yeah, so it was pretty clear in the text, which I think was true for, I would say, like a majority of people from the South in that time period.
She only had eyes for you.
Oh, wait, man. Not with that John Derek just lurking around with them beady eyes. Right.
Probably snores like a man. Shadow.
God, I'll tell you, man, I can't stand that guy.
It's like a 5'7".
God, 5 foot, nothing. God,
The whole story I really wanted to be through her point of view and her eyes and how she felt, so we always try to connect it to her and her emotional experience. And in that scene, in the editing room, we were kind of trying to see how long we could stay on her, and there's a shift in her face where she's like trying to go along with it, and then you see her kind of be more internal and she's not connecting, and so much of that scene is about her trying to connect and not really knowing how to. And I think Cailee's so able to convey so much just on her face that you can really feel what she's feeling in such a subtle way.
Thank you. You know, Sofia's sort of a master at telling so much with very little words, you know, and I think those are the moments that you know, your heart breaks for someone, or you feel like you're with them, just those internal ups and downs, and so yeah, I think that's exactly what I wanted to portray in that moment, and her just letting the reality of what this life is like, and sort of balancing out what she hopes this moment would be, but actually what it was usually like.